Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 2.1, board members may have a discussion about conferences, visitations, legislation, special recognition, donations, etc. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share?
I don't.
Okay, it's been a quiet month. Moving on. 2.2, superintendent's report. Tim.
Thank you. This is the beginning of the second semester rotation of our schools presenting to our governing board and the public on things that are going on. So we are going to actually start with our oldest school this time, Yuma High School, home of the Criminals. Come on up.
It's a little tall for little old me. Good evening, Governing Board President Kravitz, Governing Board members, Superintendent Brienza, Associate Superintendents, and members of our community. My name is Kylie Fichkowski, and I'm the Yuma High Student Body President. Okay. The class of 2026 hosted Senior Sunrise earlier this November. We provided breakfast items, fun photo props, and activities for our seniors to relax and enjoy the sunrise together. Our Bleed Blue Pep Rally was I believe in November, one of our most higher energy events of the year. We had engaging crowd games for our students to participate in, put on by our student council. Selected student council members also had the opportunity to practice their public speaking skills and announce games and activities, making this a fun hands-on event for Stuco and students. In December, we held our annual Science and Engineering Fair. 57 AP Science students showcased their semester-long projects over 8 different categories. The winners of each category will move on to the Yuma County Science and Engineering Expo. Shout out to Estrella Lopez for winning Best Project overall. I believe that already happened, and some of them should be expecting awards tomorrow. Yuma High hosted the burning of the K before our annual Yuma versus Kova game, I'm sorry, which was a massive success with our students, faculty, and the community. We hope next year to have more participation through local vendors' attendance. Yuma High hosted the annual AIA 2025 State Chess Tournament, taking place in the old gym over a span of 2 days. Over 200 students from all over Arizona competed. Pictured below is our own Win Shin, who placed, I believe, 3rd in the state tournament. Yuma Union's Mastery of the Arts program hosted an open house event for parents, friends, and anyone in the community interested in learning about their opportunities and activities. Students had the chance to showcase the skills they have been developing in their classes each week, and we look forward to our MAP Gala hosted in Snyder coming up this spring. These are our portrait of a graduate, Students of the Month, as shown below. These are Student Athletes of the Month, just students that have portrayed good leadership skills. And yeah, that's all we have for you guys right now, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fidzikowski. I do pride myself in being able to pronounce the name correctly, so I thank you for being here. There's nothing wrong with burning a K. I don't know why. I do know we have some Yuma High, I do know we have some Yuma High criminal graduates in the audience. So with that being said, I'm sorry, COFA graduates in the audience. With that being said, we're going to have our second oldest school, COFA High School, come up to present.
Good morning. Just before we start, we'd like to give you guys a little present to show our appreciation and love for you guys for all that you do for us. Good evening, Governing Board President Kravitz, Governing Board members, Superintendent Brienza, Associate Superintendents, and members of our community. My name is Martine Hernandez, and I am the COFA Student Body President.
My name is Ayla Pope, and I'm the Junior Class President. Today, we are excited to share some highlights from COFA High School.
This year, our students put in hundreds of hours of service, but to do something different, we hosted our very first color run. In support of the Arizona Special Olympics, we hosted over 80 members of our community and were able to raise money for their organization.
Our students and staff continue to make us incredibly proud. Miss Andrea Ward was awarded the APS/Sun STEM grant, earning $2,500 for classroom supplies to support STEM learning. Our academic decathlon team represented our school at the regional competition where they earned 18 medals and will be representing us again at the state competition. And finally, 3 of our outstanding teachers, Mr. Frost, Miss Jacobs, and Miss Figueroa, were honored Teacher of the Year.
Our athletics department has had an incredible year with some outstanding achievements. One of our cross-country athletes, Sabrina Anaya, earned 3rd place at the state championships. Jacqueline Smith from our girls golf team also qualified in the state championships, finishing 39th in the state. A swim athlete, Will Roof, placed 14th at the AIA state championships. And last but not least, our cheer team brought home 3rd place at their competition.
Our CTE programs have also had an outstanding year. Our medical assisting community awareness team, Beyond the Harvest, earned 1st place and is advancing to host a state competition. In JROTC, Mildred Hernandez made history at the Marine Corps Postal in November and is now advancing to the MC JROTC Service Championships as part of the KOFA Rifle Team. She is also the first MC JROTC student to qualify for the Gold Distinguished Shooter Badge in KHS history. In our nursing program, KOFA students competed at regionals where 3 students earned 2nd place medals. This month, we're highlighting communication. At KOFA, strong communication means working together across different groups on campus. Student Council regularly collaborates with every club at our school by meeting once a month, giving each group the opportunity to share upcoming events and activities. This helps ensure that students stay informed, involved, and connected across our campus.
We're also looking ahead to some exciting upcoming events. KOFA will be hosting our Road to Royalty to introduce incoming students to the Kingdom on February 19th. Then, on March 6th, we'll be hosting a junior high leadership conference welcoming middle schools from across Yuma County to help develop leadership skills in younger students. Lastly, on April 30th, we'll be holding our annual Daydream Dance for our special education department, continuing a meaningful tradition that celebrates inclusion and community. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share KOFA's accomplishments and upcoming events. We're proud of everything our students are achieving and look forward for an even greater next year.
Always remember, once a king, always a king.
Thank you. I just want to remind folks that after the board meeting, KOFA soccer is playing right next door in the first round of state playoffs. So if you're looking for something to do, then you can go there and probably catch the second half. Also, I do want to remind the students that feel free to leave. You can stick around, but I do appreciate you being here. Our next part of my superintendent's report is I want to introduce Dr. Krista Anderson, who has come today to give out a cognitive recognition for our district.
Well, good evening. It is so wonderful to be here again. I was here maybe 3-4 years ago to give a 100-year milestone award to Yuma High School. And so it must be about 102, 103 years that it's been accredited. So well done. About 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago, I got contacted by Yuma Union asking to start setting up and preparing for their systems accreditation. And so sure enough, we jumped into a meeting and that team just went full force and did an excellent job with that systems accreditation last year. And I would like to say that I'm actually here tonight to recognize the systems accreditation, but I am not. I'm here to recognize an individual there is an individual in each state who exemplifies unparalleled leadership in promoting and advancing excellence in education. The Excellence in Education Award goes to individuals who have demonstrated success in the following areas. They generate a common vision and mission for high expectations for the learning community. They demonstrate a record of significant, distinguished contributions to education profession that they provide a lasting positive impact on student learning, serves a role model and a mentor for students and/or future generations of educators. They demonstrate significant professional contributions to promote continuous improvement in action research. This year's recipient is Mr. Derek Bosch. Is he there? Is he? For those of you in the audience, we had this planned back in October at the ASA conference with 400 people in the audience, and we just wanted to be able to say these words that I'm about to read to you and watch his face. Unfortunately, he was sick and he was not able to attend. So it's been a few months and we've been keeping a secret from him. And so here we go. He is a visionary servant leader whose commitment to students, educators, and continuous improvement has shaped not only the district's direction, but also the lives and futures of countless young people and professionals across Arizona. Since joining YUHSD in 2007, Derek has been an initiator and champion of some of the most impactful systems of improvement in the district. He led and designed implementation of the district's instructional framework, which has become a foundation for high-quality teaching and learning across campuses. His belief in student-centered innovation led to the district's first pilot of standards-based grading, an initiative he launched as a principal with just 5 PLCs. Thanks to his leadership and perseverance, and small pilot has now evolved into a district-wide system implemented across all 7 high schools. His work laid the groundwork for transformation in how we assess and support students. Derek also believes deeply in student voice, innovation, and real-world learning. As a principal, he brought the community to the school through enrichment days, connecting the students with local partners for authentic, interest-based learning experiences. He is also deeply committed mentor and developer of people. Many current principals and district leaders across the district have advanced into leadership roles as a direct result of Derek's guidance, vision, and trust. He empowers others by asking the right questions at the right time. His ability to lead through inquiry, consistently sharpening thinking skills, builds leadership capacity and drives strategic growth in every setting. Derek models what he expects from others: discipline, humility, as well as a strong work ethic. Nominated by Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, Corey Semler, he states that Mr. Bosch is a transformational leader whose legacy will grow through students, educators, and systems he has helped shape. Please join me in congratulating this year's Excellent in Education Award. He is the Arizona Award winner, recipient, Associate Superintendent, Yuma Union High School Districts, Mr. Derek Bosch.
So Derek, I think your family's here, so if you want to take a quick photo with them, that's okay, or give a speech. But I did lie, and that presentation I created for October was a real presentation, but you wasted it because you were sick. But I do appreciate you.
I don't lie very well. He asked me why I was here today. I'm like, to celebrate the system. I don't know, the look on my face was probably giving. We want some pictures?
Yeah.
I will let you keep this. I do want to thank you very much. Thank you, and Cognia truly appreciates the support from Yuma Union, and we are here to help you through your continuous improvement process. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I've heard two people yell at me to give a speech, so
You don't have a mic at your dais?
I do,
Okay.
but this is my moment. So, like I said, that was very humbling, and I thank you, Mr. Semler, for nominating me. As she was saying that, all I could think about was the tremendous governing board that we have. Mr. Brienza is a great leader for this district, and I was just thinking about all the people that are in this room, specifically our principals and our assistant principals who do an amazing job. I was in those positions, and I know how difficult it is, and although I got the award, and I'm appreciative of that and humbled by that, that award really goes to the leaders in this district, those of you in the room, you guys sitting up here, and all of our students who we work for every day. So thank you. And thank you to my family for being here. I shouldn't forget that.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Anderson, for driving down today and joining us. Madam President, that concludes my long report.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was great. Brenda, have fun following that. Item 3.1, the budget update.
Good evening. Story of my life.
I
Right?
know,
get the
you have an
students, I
unfortunate
get
placement.
Wonderful Mr. Bosch, and then here I am. My name is Brenda Yetta. I'm Director of Finance with your monthly budget update. So we're about 58% of the school year. You'll see that in our first page is maintenance and operations. And as always, you'll see our salaries, our fixed expenditures, and then our school budgets there. And then the second page is our M&O continued, and those are by departments, and you'll see there the expenditures. I probably forgot to mention, this is for as of February 2nd, so this is for the month of January. So our budgeted amount is $106,976,000. Of that, we have spent $46,708,660, so about 44%. The next page is our capital budget. And you'll see there also listed our departments and our school capital budgets. Our budgeted amount is $11,087,304. We have spent so far $2,688,861, so about 24%. The very last page is our monthly student activities fund report. And there you'll see the ending cash balance for the district, $763,189.83. The bottom has the year-to-date revenues and expenditures. The balance is $39,212.35. There is no big expenditures to note for the month of January. Any questions?
Does anybody have any? As always, you do a fabulous job. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Moving on to informational item 3.2, social workers. Tim, Rob? Rob?
Yep, I'm going to turn it over to Health and Safety Director Bo and Henry Gonzalez, and he will introduce our social worker team.
Yes, sir. Good evening, folks. Henry Gonzalez, Director of Health and Safety. It's my pleasure to introduce this group of folks that come to work every day to provide for the overall social, emotional, mental health needs of our students. They do a tremendous job working on the front lines, behind the scenes, and everywhere in between to ensure that our students are taken care of on a daily basis. So what I'd like to do is introduce them just kind of as they can come up and join me here. From representing South County, from San Luis High School, we have Miss Alejandra Lopez. From Somerton, we have Mr. Crisanto Gonzalez. Moving into town, we've got David Reynoso, Mr. David Reynoso from with Vista. Miss Kelly Dale, who is at Cibola. Miss Martha Reminar from Kofa High School. Mr. Ulysses Torres from Gila Ridge. And folks, Miss Olivia Porches is at Yuma High School, but she had a parent program that she's participating in tonight. So without further ado, they do have a brief presentation for you all, so I'll turn it over to our social workers.
Hello. thank you guys for having us and being interested to hear about our program and what we do for our students and our families. You know, we kind of have a little bit of a slogan, I guess, and it comes from the School Social Work Association of America and also Arizona. So school social workers are trained mental health professionals who can assist with mental health concerns, behavioral concerns, and are the link between the home, school, and community to promote and support the academic and social success of students. I just recently got a social work student, so an MSW student who's been following with me, and she's in my office and observing every day. And one of the things we talked about today that was kind of interesting, and I think can relate back to that, is how much our office is like a neutral ground. So we're not teachers, we're not in admin, we're not, you know, teaching them, grading their assignments. We're not necessarily there to do the discipline, but we're there to support and listen and navigate between all of those things. So that kind of made a highlight for me and something that came to mind for me regarding what we do at schools.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to say if we were able to describe our job in one word, it would be connection, right? A large portion of our role is providing mental health support to our students and responding to crises within our campuses. We also like to bridge the gaps between families and treatment providers in town. So we like to engage our family members here of every one of our students. Our biggest role here is connecting with community resources, being able to go out there and get to know the faces, get to know the people that can help our students, whether it's through a McKinney-Vento application or, you know, helping somebody and their parents find housing, right? That's part of our role, and that's one of the biggest things that we do. And at the end of the day, we're all here for our students, right? We're the ones that give them a voice when they don't have one, and advocating for our students. And I can probably vouch for every single person standing behind me that they will get into a ring and fight for our students tirelessly. So, yep.
Good afternoon, everybody. A lot of appreciation for everybody here, y'all and the audience. Yeah, mental health crisis support. So to break that down a little bit, it's important to just mention that a lot of kids in our community are struggling with suicidal ideation and really significant chronic anxiety, so meaning anxiety that persists to the point that it is impacting their daily lives. We see a lot of kids going through depression, a lot of kids and families going through a lot of grief in our community. Big partner in supporting our kids who are going through these situations and families is the mobile crisis team. A lot of love to the folks who go around the city to support some of our most vulnerable people. I think with that being said, it's important for me to mention today that a lot of our students often hear, you know, one thing that as social workers, we're privy to perspectives from kids and then adults on all sides, right? From administrators to parents and as well as teachers. And as somebody who's been in education for close to 10 years now, a common comment that I often hear is we often compare our kids' struggle or our struggle to our kids' struggle. And I do just want to say that I do believe that this is one of the most courageous and brave generation of young people the world has ever seen. I do believe that kids do not, or kids are facing battles and challenges in this day and age that many of us could never imagine. And so a lot of love to our young people in our community. And if you are going through a mental health struggle, please reach out to somebody. I highly encourage everybody in this room to look up the mobile crisis team and have that phone number in your pocket. But appreciate y'all.
Good evening, everyone. And just to continue what Mr. Reynoso said, our main job is to connect students to resources. So 3 of our main ones is our MOU with Eastern Steels and community partners. That's a great tool that we have at each campus. So students that are in need of counseling services, therapy, psychotherapy, or anything like that, we have the ability to introduce them to send that referral, and then they're able to provide those services on campus. So that's a huge win for us. The second one, each campus has their care closet. So if students are in need of food, clothing, hygiene items, whatever it is, we have that available. So we like to make them feel like they're going to a store. We take them to our care closets. They can pick whatever they need. So that's very important for us as well. And then the third one is connecting with our local agencies. So far, we have a great community. So one of the examples is we work closely with the food bank, we are part of the Mental Health Coalition, the Anti-Drug Coalition, United Way. So we are able to just pick up the phone and call our community, and they're always willing to help us. So it's just very important, like Mr. Reynoso said, just connecting those students to their resources.
So something else that we do is advocacy and equity, making sure that all students are seen and heard, especially supporting our high-risk populations, making sure that they get the services that they need, especially like Mr. Reynoso said, the McKinney-Vento students who are homeless, being able to support them with the program that the state provides us with the resources necessary to be able to give them either clothing, hygiene items, or even sometimes whatever we can on the school campus. Also foster care, sometimes students might need a little bit of that stability, and being there and part of that school system to be able to provide some support. Also making sure to address systemic barriers, whether that be in the school setting or even being an advocate as well for their families, stuff like that. Promoting student voice and empowerment. I know recently I've been having a partnership with one of our students through AVID. This upcoming, we're going to be doing a hygiene drive for our caring closet. So being able to work with the students and being able to be part of their voice and also helping them be empowered. And also ensuring them to access supports and services, either that may be through individualized education plans or even through 504 plans, making sure that they are successing academically within the classroom as well.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for listening to us, and I just want to end this presentation with saying that regulated kids are regulated students are students that are ready for being out there. So I just want to make sure that this message gets across and people understand that having a space where students can regulate their emotions, be aware of their emotions, where they can distress themselves, so they can be loving towards teachers, they can be loving people. It's a sensitive topic for me because it's just this. I know that this world needs a lot of love. Just being able to be a social worker at San Luis High School in a border community where students are crossing every day, and like there's this struggle. And sometimes they need to, they need to become adults very early, and just being able to have that space for them so they can understand themselves and also be compassionate towards teachers, towards admins, and always having that opportunity to share the resources that the social workers have, but also the community, that the community is ready to serve them, not only the school. So. Thank you.
We'll do it.
Thanks, guys. So we're blessed. We are truly blessed to have these folks as part of our comprehensive school safety programs that work very close with our SROs, our administrative team, our nurses, all of us together to ensure the overall health, wellness, and safety of our students. With that said, are there any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Bo.
Yes,
Does
ma'am.
anybody have questions on this side? Okay.
I just wanted to thank you guys. It makes me tear up because I'm sure you see a lot of things. But the question I have is, when you do refer them out to the community services that are available, are you also pulling the parents or guardians in as well so that they can work side by side at home too? Yes.
So parent engagement is absolutely paramount, right? With working with our students, and so I think we made reference to having a partnership with Easter Seals Blake Foundation and CPIH. So not only are social workers engaging parents with the students at their level, but also in the event we do refer out, absolutely, they participate in activities called child and family team meetings, where you've got parents and other concerned stakeholders that work with the child. But absolutely, parental engagement is a very important factor in the work that these folks do.
So if I could piggyback on that, Bo, so a few years ago, we brought these outside services, school-based referrals is what it's called. So the parents actually have to opt in for their children to have the services, and then those school-based services, they can service them on campus, off campus, but the parents are involved. And there's actually an exit survey that we don't provide, but it's through the community provider. Then the results are sent directly to ADE. We don't see them, so there is a checks and balance, but the parents are involved with that as well. And every year there's hundreds and hundreds of students that are seen by providers, but there's also students where the parents say, no, we have our own resources as well, and they choose not to, but the parents actually have to agree to have our kiddos, their students, be seen by these outside providers.
I also have a question. I wanted to really offer congratulations to all of you standing up here, to our entire district staff for recognizing that we have to teach the entire child, not just in a classroom, and we really greatly appreciate that. You're right, it's important to create regulated students so that they could become regulated adults. With that being said, I just wanted to ensure that the cost of these outside interventions do not become a hurdle that the family or the student can't get across. So how do we handle that?
So that was a very important element when we decided to enter into the contracts that we have, was to ensure that all students, regardless of their ability, their insurance status, could receive services. So fortunately for us, block grant funding was applied to those two agencies, and so in the event you do have a young person that might be underinsured or not insured, then we would utilize the block grant funding to provide for those folks.
So it's not an issue?
It's not.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I also wanted to congratulate the grant writers of our district for acquiring this grant so that we could have one of you in each school. So thank you very much. That's all I have. Thank you so much. Moving on to informational item 3.3, the 26-27 district calendar. Tim?
I can take that, Mrs. Kravitz.
Derek.
Yes. So we're bringing this information item to you. I'm going to read a little bit verbatim just so the audience and you guys understand the full scope of this. We already have approved calendars for the 26-27 school year, so this information item would affect that. Yuma Union High School District is considering the addition of 2 instructional time model days for the 26-27 school year calendar, one in the fall and one in the spring, to better support classified and certified staff, strengthen the long-term sustainability of district systems, and provide dedicated time for system alignment and coordinated work across departments and sites. The currently approved 26-27 calendar includes 1 ITM or instructional time model day, the September 21st, 2026 PD day. This proposal would add ITM days on November 2nd, 2026 and March 8th, 2027. So what we did was we surveyed staff, classified and certified, and we asked them their thoughts on adding these 2 days. And the results in the information item you can see indicate support for this. We had 77.8% of the certified staff and 78.5% of the classified staff in favor of adding these 2 days. So typically, like I said, we only have one. We have 1 ITM day on the calendar. Other days that sometimes come up where we'll have an ITM day where students are remote learning at home while teachers are maybe they're at the campus, maybe they're doing professional development. Sometimes if an AC unit goes out, power outage, ACT testing days or other options where we would submit this to the state for approval. We have tracking systems through Synergy where students will then log in online through an e-learning button. So they take attendance, they work from home through Canvas, our learning management system. So that's kind of in a nutshell what it is. By adding these 2 days, we would, like I said, put professional development in place that's hard for us to do without having the additional time. For example, and we surveyed staff ideas on what they would like to do with these 2 days. They're not just going to be teacher planning days. They're going to be standards-based grading was one of the options on the survey. It's hard for us to maintain a standards-based grading system district-wide with this many teachers and students without bringing people together to collaborate and look at their objectives, look at their standards, rewrite their rubrics, develop assessments, all the things that go into teaching. So that would be one possible thing that we could do with our certified staff. In addition, if it was a classified staff learning day, we have great people, Mr. Swenson with our facilities and maintenance, they may do something. Our secretaries could get together and maybe work through things that they don't get to work on very much, like Synergy. So there's different options that we're looking at. So this is just to bring you aware of what we are proposing, be able to answer your questions, and then in March we could bring it back as an action item to officially change the calendar if it is approved. So, questions?
Other than me, who has a question? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna lob a couple at you right now.
Sure.
I appreciate the numbers from the staff. Knowing that is great. But has anybody queried the families?
We did not survey the families this time around. We discussed that. We thought it would be difficult to explain the ITM model in a short survey. So we were a little concerned with the transparency and the clarity of it. The first time around when we approved the calendars for the previous 2 years, including the 26-27 calendar, we did have a staff survey. So this time around, we took this approach, bringing it to the governing board as an information item, but we have not, but we could. We still could do that.
So you said you did a staff survey last time. I'm talking about a parent survey.
I'm sorry, maybe I misspoke. We did a parent survey, a community survey last time.
Okay,
I probably said staff.
Gotcha.
Correct.
So I'm all about like keeping our staff in the classrooms with the students as often and as much as we can. So my next question is, we get out early on Mondays. There are things that we can cover during that admin time, that's contractual time. That's not gonna cover it?
There are several things that happen during the course of a year on those days. Typically our principals, our campuses, and district staff have those pre-planned out, and we do use those days for, I'll use the standards-based grading example, we do use those. In fact, we have set aside what we call cross-district collaboration days, which right now we have 3 to 4 per fall and per spring semester that are dedicated specifically to that. It's just that, like I said, the amount of, it takes a little bit more than that. I'll just say it like that. It takes more than 3 cross-district collaboration days for the scope of the work that needs to be done. But that's a great question. We do utilize those days for different professional developments.
Right, and then if we have a question from you about can we add on 2 more ITM days without a proposal of why, like you've mentioned standards-based grading as one possible, but we don't know what else you're going to be doing. Maybe you can come back and tell us, like, we really need X, Y, Z done, and we need this time for that. That would make it sort of easier, I know for myself,
Sure.
to vote on
Yeah,
this
we
and
we can share the survey results with you. We have results from our classified staff and our certified staff, and they've listed their top items for things that they feel that we really need to work on to keep our systems in check.
Right.
So absolutely.
Okay, and then my last question is, why did you pick these days? Like, why these dates? Why not piggyback on a long weekend or make it more convenient for a family is really my question.
Yeah, that's another good question. We looked long and hard at that, and you could say, well, why not do a 3-day weekend or a 4-day or something like that? We don't want to turn these days into opportunities for staff to necessarily take days off. And I'm not saying they do that on long weekends, but we value, we want to make these true learning opportunities where students are logging in on Canvas. We want to improve our systems of teachers doing the best that they can to put rigorous learning on the e-platform through Canvas. And we also want our teachers to be present. And we know it that sometimes vacations are taken on 3-day weekends. It's an easier opportunity to get out of town. So we looked at our calendar and we tried not to butt it up against holidays, 3-day weekends, and pick the 2 best days that we could find that we think are.
You're taking this as a from a staff perspective. I'm talking about from a parental perspective.
Sure.
I'm talking about if my son or my daughter is going to be on the computer learning from home. That home could be in Vermont. I mean, that home could be, in wherever. And maybe for convenience sake for the families, that's why I was asking. It wasn't about the staff.
Sure. Yeah, that's a valid point.
So those are my questions. So I'm sure we will see this next month, and we get to decide what we want to do with it.
Sure.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Informational item 3.4, attendance. I guess that's back to you, Derek.
Yes, we have 2 guests with us here this evening. If you recall, about a year ago, we had a study session regarding chronic absenteeism, where we looked at students that are absent at least 10% of the time, which is 18 school days. And we dove into that and we shared some data. This time around, we have Chris Reese, who's our dropout prevention specialist at Somerton, and we have Itzel Rodriguez, who is a former director of student supports, now an assistant principal overseeing academics at Cibola. They have a lot of experience on their respective campuses, and they can speak to general systems of attendance across our district. So they're here to talk to you tonight really about procedures, systems, and protocols when it comes to students either being maybe late to school, tardy to first period or second period throughout the day, absences throughout the day, and what they do and what supports are in place at the campus to address that. So thank you guys for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you for being here and allowing us to present this information. This first slide is an attendance overview from the first 100 days. So you can see it lists each campus and then the numbers district-wide. You can kind of see roughly about 90%. So obviously ADA, average daily attendance, and ADM is average daily membership, which is basically enrollment, right? And then that's the average attendance rate over that period of time.
And so I'll just quickly talk about how we actually get that data and talk about what that looks like on a daily basis. So starting off with the beginning of the school day, 6 minutes before school starts, there's a bell which will indicate for students to start making their way to class. And then there's another warning bell 1 minute before class starts. And then there's the final bell. And that's when class begins. And so from the moment that class begins, teachers are asked to take attendance within the first 10 minutes of class. And the expectation at that point is that teachers are marking the student either present or absent. So if the student is in class, they're going to be marked present. If the student is absent at that point, they're going to be marked absent. And so if a student arrives after the final bell, they are directed to check in with our attendance clerk. And 2 things happen at this time. They have an iPad which scans the students, and it automatically syncs with our Synergy system, which will automatically change the student's absence from absence to late. They also receive a late check-in pass. And so that also helps security, administration that's out monitoring the hallways to make sure that for part of it's safety reasons, that we're directing students appropriately. So if we notice that the student has that late pass, we're going to direct them to class. If they don't have a late pass, we direct them to
attendance to get a late pass and check in. And so sometimes we get asked, why do students check in rather than just go directly to class? And there's two reasons for this. First part is to ensure accuracy when taking attendance, and the other part is to protect instructional time. So what does that mean? So we used to have teachers update attendance as students were showing up late to class. So you would get little Johnny coming in 10 minutes late. The teacher would stop what they were doing, go and update their attendance, mark them from absent to late. And then maybe 15 minutes later, another student comes in, they would stop instruction, then update their attendance. So we wanted to minimize that because one, sometimes the teachers are busy giving their lecture, connecting with students, doing activities with them, and they don't have the opportunity to go change that attendance. So we wanted to make sure, one, attendance was accurate, and then two, we wanted to minimize the classroom disruption when it came to teachers stopping what they were doing. And so that's the process that we follow when taking attendance. With that data, we are then able to do a few things. So the first thing is that through Parent Square, we are able to, when a student is absent or late during the first and second period of that day, they automatically get a Parent Square message after second period. So the message will say your student was late or absent to first or second period. And then the other thing that we do, it allows us to gather data. So typically our director of student supports is the one that is responsible for collecting this data. They will run a weekly report and identify the students that potentially need some form of intervention. And so the form of intervention is very progressive. So the first time, it's a warning. Once we've identified that we need to have a conversation with the student, it is a warning, and during this conversation, we talk about students' grades, we talk about their entire attendance profile, and then the other big thing that we talk about is what's causing this tardy to occur. And so we start having those connections, and then we also include the families in these conversations just as a follow-up as well. And so the goal of that is early intervention, to try to get to these students and identify what are some potential barriers that are going on so that we can support them moving forward. If the pattern continues, then the second conversation becomes a 1-hour detention, the third conversation becomes 2-hour detention, and it just progressively increases. With, again, the goal here is to provide this type of partnership with the families too, so that they're aware of what's going on and that we're also sharing why it's so important that students are on time and coming to school.
So in terms of the attendance intervention, obviously the most important part of my job as the dropout prevention specialist is to run reports and identify those students that I need to intervene in, right? And so the initial identification, so all of the dropout prevention specialists are tasked with running reports, a lot of reports. One of the biggest ones we're looking at 3 to 5 consecutive. We're looking at consecutive absences, just so we can get ahead of any potential 10-day drops, right? 10-day consecutive drops, and so again, like Itzel was saying, it's about early intervention, trying to make contact with those students. What that looks like is initially, if the student is at school, we do kind of one-on-one with the student, phone calls home. That's kind of the initial 3-day. At 5-day, that's usually referred over to the dropout prevention specialist, and then we start really kind of cracking down, trying to make contact, looking at emergency contacts, just really trying to see what's going on, up to including home visits. The ongoing support and escalation. So every campus has a student support team that's comprised of at least the dropout prevention specialist, the director of student support, and the social worker. Sometimes there's other members of that team, the nurse, things like that, counselor. And so what I, oftentimes, to kind of piggyback on the social worker presentation, through the conversations that I have with students, I can see like, hey, this would be a really good thing to refer out to our social worker, right? Because maybe I'm recognizing that's the intervention that's needed. And so having that group at each campus is really important. Administrative oversight, again, about progressive discipline. We're looking at consecutive absences, but we also look at it just simply excessive absences as well, because we run those reports too. But in terms of the discipline, there's a discipline matrix, right? And monitoring coordination. So it's in continuation or continuous data review. Again, we constantly pull the attendance reports. We're tracking those students that we've already intervened with to see if those interventions are working, or if we need to look at other things. So it really does take a village. And that concludes. Did you have any questions for us?
I think some of us do, yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
David, do you have any questions?
A lot of parents got a hold of me with the walkout. So what are your stats for the students that left for lunch, didn't come back to participate in that walkout? What are the consequences? And were all the parents notified because it was in the afternoon?
I can only speak to kind of the portion that I played at Somerton High School. I was tasked with running the reports to see. Ours kind of occurred during the 4th and 5th period range, and so we did run specific reports. And for us, it was a kind of a couple-day event, and so we had to look at that data. I did run the reports. I did provide that to admin staff, and I think not only did they look at that data itself, but they also looked at the overall data for those individual students. Obviously, I'm not privy to the outcome of that, but I know I did run the reports for that, and they do have a specific number, and students were identified.
Did you have any talks with the parents of those students?
So we ran a report of the students that we saw were present 3rd period and absent 4th period, and we sent out a parent square message letting them know that their student was absent during 4th period. Because typically we only send that parent square message 1st and 2nd period. So I just wanted to add that we did send out a parent square message. And then we also asked teachers that if there was a student that left during the class time, we had a spreadsheet where they were going to indicate that information, and we also shared that information via Parent Square with the families.
So I think one thing we've talked about as a district with some campus leaders and just one-on-one principals reached out is generally when a student is ditching first time, it's usually just a warning. So phone call home, parent square message. So data is being analyzed to see if there are a frequent ditcher, and then campuses will react to that information, which would then be in the discipline matrix, which could be detention, it could be a suspension. So just because of the volume of participants on different campuses, I think they're still working through the workflow, but they have run the reports and identifying those, and maybe have had some conversations already.
So depending on how many absences they've had, are the consequences? How many times they cut class or don't show up?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
So it depends how many times they just cut class.
Are you referring to that specific incident?
Right.
So on the discipline matrix, and I'll let maybe Itzel or Ms. Rodriguez let me know if I'm wrong, and which I'm okay with being being wrong. But essentially, though, you have to look at the student holistically. So usually the first time, and I'm going to say the first time, it's a warning. So when they have another student, so if you got caught ditching class twice, to use that term, then that's probably where there's going to be a consequence. And I don't want to speak to whether it's a suspension or a detention, because each student might be at a different stage in where they're at.
And is it period by period? So like if you've missed 4th period once, then it's something. If you've missed 4th period 2 times, then it's something else. But let's say you missed last period, whatever that period number is, 7 times. So it's by period, correct?
Yes, it
Okay.
is by period. We also ask teachers that if they're noticing a student is consecutively absent to their class, number one, reach out to that family. Let them know, hey, this student has been absent to my class this amount of times. Then the follow-up after that is we have a referral system, which they would then submit a referral, and that's when administration would get involved. And depending on where they are in the matrix, that depends on the type of conversation and intervention that we would have at that point.
And I just want to say we're working with human beings as students. So as we talk about ditching class or cutting class, sometimes there's reasons, and social workers had talked about, you know, the students feeling safe. So if you are uncomfortable with your body, for example, maybe you don't want to be dressing out for PE, so you're just staying in the bathroom a little too long. That's ditching class. Maybe you feel like that, you know, students might be making fun of you for a reason, so you're ditching that class. That comes up with conversation. So would a consequence for a student who feels unsafe in a circumstance be different than someone who says, I'm out of here? Yeah, that's going to look different. But you have to realize that when we're having conversations with students, it's not always black and white. It's not clear cut. There's always that area where we have to understand what's motivating a child to ditch class multiple times or not show up for school at all multiple times.
No, I get that.
I know.
But in this case with the walkout, it was planned, so there was a heads up. It wasn't a surprise.
No, this is response to your how many times you have to ditch class to have a consequence. So I'm just saying if this was your first time, great, but there's multiple reasons. But yes, it was planned. But if this is about attendance or it's about specific action, we have to look at every incident for each student differently at times.
I'll get you. Okay, go ahead, Christy. Sorry, I'm just going down the line.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a process that the students have to take when they're coming to the campus, like after the bell rings first period, like say they come second period, and then they leave fourth period? Do they have to check in with someone, or is it just free willy-nilly, you walk on, you walk off whenever you want?
And no, there is a process. So for instance, at Somerton, if they come in during second period, we do have them sign in. They get a different pass than what the first period tardy would be. So it's a little bit of a different process. That way we can log them, or the attendance specialist can log them into Synergy correctly. So because that data needs to be captured. In terms of leaving, you know, that data also has to, you know, be accurate as well. So is a parent picking them up? You know, they go through the steps of verifying, making sure that the appropriate person is picking them up. They enter that in, that information gets entered into Synergy and logged down. And so that way attendance can be updated, you know, as quickly as possible as well.
So with the walkouts, there were multiple kids. So how did you track all the children that were leaving it at the same time?
At that point, our priority was the safety of the students. So we wanted to make sure that everybody was safe. We had a large amount of students that walked out. So we wanted to make sure that we kept the students safe and also the students that are on our campus too. So.
And I just want to say before I respond, I think the board members are asking questions they've been asking the community as well. I do think it's Ellen and Chris because this is really a hot seat. So if I'm jumping in, it's sometimes just because I know it's a hot seat and we ask them the last minute to jump in. But I know we're asking questions that are being asked in the community. This is one reason why schools were directed to take attendance after, you know, and make sure attendance is inputted immediately after a walkout occurred, because as students leave campus, yes, we have procedures, but when you have a large number, we don't have the human power to account for each and every student and identify them as they're leaving. But if they're not in the class, teachers are taking attendance, and then that call or the parent view text potentially or call goes home, you know, shortly after that. That's one way to help track it. So really, to answer the question, how do you know who left? Well, when you have a large number, it's not manageable. It's not. It's about the safety of the students. But at the same time, taking attendance that period that it occurred helps give an accurate representation of who's still on campus.
So on a regular day, students have to come in, check in. When they leave, they check out. And I'm only asking this from a safety standpoint. And both of you, I hear nothing but wonderful things about both of you around the community. That's just an added note.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not trying to beat you up or anything. We're just asking questions because I imagine there's going to be people from the audience that are going to come up to call to the public and ask more questions. But I think you brought up something very important, which is the safety of the students. How do we protect the students if it's a mass walkout? Just let it happen?
Sorry. I know for our campus at Somerton, we did have Somerton PD outside of campus, several units that I observed, because of course that's a concern, you know.
And I know our health and safety director, Henry Gonzalez, who is here. I don't know if you want to speak briefly to that, but this is not the agenda item. It's about attendance. So I think we have to be very careful to stay to the agenda item. So maybe I won't have you come up and speak because it's about attendance. These are questions related to it. But whenever we have issues, you know, that may occur like that, we are in close contact with police department to make sure that they are providing a safe environment best they can off campus, but we're responsible for what's on campus at that point in time.
I'm going to let Carlos ask some questions.
I believe that the attendance process and procedures that we have for the district doesn't have anything to do with the walkout, because that information they provide is pretty much attendance-wise. I know there's a lot of comments and concerns about walkouts on social media. And my question to the board here and to our administrators is, what can we do in a situation like this? How can we work something out to where we can, if a parent calls us and tells, you know, why is all these kids out of school? And I know it was during lunchtime, but again, like I say, attendance process and procedures that we have now established, that doesn't have anything to do with the walkouts. And most of the questions that we're asking here is about that. So that's my only question is how can we make sure that if this happens again, how we're going to approach or talk to the community in this regard.
So because this agenda item is about attendance, that might be a future agenda item. Okay. Let's do it that way. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it that way. Shelley, did you have anything you wanted to add? Thanks, Carlos.
No, I just want to thank you for all the procedures, and at the end of the day, it's wanting to have the students in the classroom and learning and about their safety. So I mean, I appreciate all the measures that you have in place to be able to do that, and then to follow up, you know, with that, and so the parents feel, you know, that their student is safe at school. So thank you for that, and I didn't hear one comment, so thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. I have a few questions, and they're very logistical questions, I think, and you'll be okay with them. What is considered, he's like getting a little nervous. What is considered excused versus an unexcused absence? That's my first question. And are they counted differently?
Yeah, they are counted differently. So there is a kind of a list of excused absences or types of absences in the student handbook. An example of that would be for bereavement leave. If a student is out sick and does get a doctor's note. So there are examples of excused absences. And really an unexcused is just, even if a parent does call or a parent picks up a student, technically it is unexcused. And so there are some variations on that. But the guidance is in the handbook about how to excuse and unexcuse.
Right. So Johnny has a braces appointment. Mm-hmm. Does mom have to come in to excuse Johnny to the attendance office? Or does Johnny just go to the attendance office and say, I have a dentist appointment, my mom's picking me up?
No, to pick him up, the parent has to come in and pick up the student.
And that's always across all campuses?
Yeah, for picking up a student, that we have to verify that
So period 4, you're going to go out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
We have to make sure that the people that are allowed to pick up that student are actually there.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. And again,
and it's not excused until we bring a note's brought in. I just want to make so the public watching, it's not excused until there's a doctor's note to excuse the absence.
Right, and these are questions that are posed to us. I probably might know the answer to some of these, but thank you for answering them anyway. And And then when the student comes back in, does mom have to bring the student back in, or can the student just walk in with the note?
I hardly see a student come in by them. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I seen that happen. Usually, if always, the
A parent
comes
brings them in?
They sign the student back in the time the student is coming back in, and then if the parent does happen to have the doctor's excuse or whatever at that point in time, they can turn it in at that point. But I can't remember a time that a student just rolled in from a doctor's visit or something by themselves.
So following that line of thinking, how long does the family have to turn in the excuse?
We don't necessarily set a limit. We understand, for example, I can bring an example. Last semester, there was a family that had a family emergency, and it was towards the end of the semester. They were absent for 5 days, and then they didn't have an opportunity to bring in the documentation until probably mid-January because of certain circumstances. So we don't want to set a limit as to when a family can bring in the information for us to excuse it, but the limit would be at the end of the school year.
So kind of going back to what Tim said, I mean, we're dealing with people and we understand that, but so there's not even like really a guideline.
A guideline to bring in the notes?
Yeah, like I'm just looking for some guidance for the community because that's what we're
So
doing.
in this case, this particular case, for example, the student was gone for 5 days, and that was an indicator for our dropout prevention specialist. It came up on their role, so the dropout would then call the family and say, hey, we noticed that the student has been absent, and typically at that point, the family said, hey, we're actually dealing with an emergency, we have something going on, and we'll make note of that in Synergy, and then just remind them, hey, whenever things are settled, whenever you're able to bring in the information, please bring it in, that way we can excuse the student's absence.
So what would the family have to bring in at this point? I mean, they've already told you what's going on. What do they have to bring in?
So for audit purposes, we have to have some form of documentation, whether it's a doctor's note, it's a hospital visit, something that states that the student, if it was a health waiver, that states that the student was out, and then that we can excuse it as a health waiver.
Okay, thank you. And then how many of each are allowed? How many unexcused versus excused absences can a student have in a school year?
So some people operate off of old knowledge that, oh, I need to have so many unexcused absences and then I have to make them up. That hasn't been a practice or a policy in our district for years. So really, when you get right down to it, when a student has 10%, which is 18 days per state statute, then that's classified as chronically absent. But for a student to receive an F, it's because of what they know knowledge-wise and what they've demonstrated. So when you ask how many absences can a student have, it's kind of up to the family as well. We want students in school every day, but there's no state statute that says that they have to be in school a certain amount of time either.
And I'll add on to that. So that's a combination. The 10% is a combination of excused and unexcused, however it's coded for them. So, and I think that's a decent segue to our folks, and these guys did a tremendous job coming up here because these are very difficult questions, and they're speaking on behalf of the district, and every school, for the most part, has very, very similar processes and routines with the exception of a few little tweaks here and there. But our community support is greatly needed when it comes to attendance and getting kids to school on time, making sure that it's a priority to be in school. We're on the receiving end of that, and as they said, we're managing this as a school. Your teachers are monitoring attendance. They're standing in hallways, getting kids to class. We have security officers. You have dropout prevention, director of student support. Almost every administrator, all of them, just some more involved than others, are meeting with kids about attendance if it gets to them. It is quite a process, and these guys they're doing the best that they can. When they say there's a lot of spreadsheets and there's data tracking and all that, there's a lot. And when you're looking at absence, third period, okay, there's a lot of A's on a spreadsheet sometimes, and they're trying to get in and they're trying to do the appropriate interventions in a timely manner and address every kid holistically to see, because every kid is different. Every kid has a different circumstance, and that's the point that I think, one of the points that they tried to bring home today is it's difficult to address every kid individually like that when you're dealing with so many of them. So thank you guys for being here. Great job.
I just want to say.
So I just want to say that I'm not attacking the two of you. I am not the one that's sitting here saying, I am asking questions that have been asked of me, and I think it's important for all of us to know. We pass hundreds of policies all the time. There's no way for us to remember them all. So we needed a refresher, and I think maybe the walkout sort of gave the impetus, like, hey, maybe we need to know about this, right? So I thank you as well for being here, and I really do appreciate it. But in light of what happened, where students just left, the biggest question that I got for attendance was, do the parents have to give permission for the student to leave campus? And my response was, we have a closed campus, meaning people can't come in, but we can't duct tape them to their seats, and we can't, by fire code, lock the doors. So in essence, when some child walks out the door, we can't do corporal punishment. We have to let them go. So my question to you is, do we have to have parental permission when they leave? And then what do we do for attendance purposes only when they leave? We don't have parental permission. What do we do? What can we do?
So we have security. If we notice a student is leaving, this is outside of the walkout. If we notice a student is leaving, they should be carrying an ID, and the ID should say 1st through 6th, 1st through 4th. That's one way that we can identify whether the student is allowed to leave or not, because we do have students that walk back home. And so if a security guard notices that a student, it's third period, the student has 6 classes, they will redirect them back to the office, and it's usually a radio call to administration saying, hey, the student is trying to leave campus. Most of the time, I would say majority of the time, the students go to attendance. There are some times where the student refuses to follow the redirection of the security guard, and at that point, we're not gonna have the security guard hold the student hostage. We would then just inform the families.
Right, and as there are controlled ingress and egress on all of our campuses, because we're safe and we know this, it's probably more manageable on a smaller scale, right? That's all I have, and if anybody else wants to add one more thing before I let them go,
I just want to say thank you. I'm not trying to pick on you or anything like that. You're doing a great job, and you're taking all the bullets and all the heat, so thank you.
I really, really do. We really appreciate all the work that everyone in this room does all the time for our students. So thank you so much. Thanks, Tim.
I think we need to give him a round of applause, because that was a very tough conversation. So, thank you, Kristen Itzel.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 4, call to the public. Any person wishing to speak may present the information at this time only. All presentations are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes and a maximum of 15 minutes on each subject. Before you begin to speak, identify yourself by clearly stating, for the record, your name. Comments by members of the governing board in response to any public comment will be limited to asking staff to review the matter or requesting rescheduling of the matter for further consideration at a later date. I have 2 forms. The first one is Russell McLeod.
Good evening. First off, thank you for your service. I know it's largely unappreciated and can be difficult at times. Secondly, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the Yuma High School presentation featured burning destruction, and the Copa High School brought you gifts. So just saying. So I'm here to talk about the walkout. And what did that teach our children, our students? Many of them, I will submit to you, joined in because of, for lack of a better term, a mob mentality. It was the cool thing to do. How many of them actually knew what was going on? There's been discussion about, well, what can we do? Well, I would say an administration, and of course this is something that the board can prescribe. If I had been in charge, I would have required every teacher to have a test during that day in each class that affected the grade. There needs to be something, they need to be invested. If, when you're an adult and you leave your job during the day to go do this kind of a protest, you lose wages. So the administration can provide some sort of incentive and teach these students what it's like when you're an adult, that there is a consequence of sorts. Teachers, I've been told, helped these students make some of the signs. I find that abhorrent. What about the student in that classroom whose parent works for immigrations or customs? How comfortable do they feel facing that teacher the next day, knowing that teacher helped write signs to abolish the jobs of their parent? And a lot of those students, if you ask them, what does the acronym ICE stand for? I asked several. Most really don't know. And what's really important is the C in the middle, customs. What does customs do? They don't know. But customs prevents the flood of drugs across our border that can kill them and their friends.
Mr. McLeod, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap it up.
That's 3 minutes?
Yeah, that was the timer.
Sure. I think that this board has the ability to put in place policies that will teach our students what it means to be an adult. I don't think you're without the ability to set parameters and policies that we can deal with this in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other one I have is Scott McLeod.
Good evening. So I do have a letter that I want to read, but additionally, if it's okay with the board, I would like to briefly address the attendance thing that was just spoken about a moment ago. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, you may speak about that.
Okay. So one thing
That
I
3
want.
minutes is still going to hold, though.
Okay. So real quick, one thing I wanted to address. We talked about attendance and everything. One thing that was not addressed is staff accountability. When a student is absent first period, second period, present third period, absent fourth period, there should be some program in place to look at that and go, hey, what's going on? Why is that student being marked in attendance? I will say it happens more often than you would think, where a teacher just marks their entire student body or their entire class present and they're not actually in attendance. So that is just a suggestion for the attendance, that there definitely needs to be better accountability to the staff. Now, that being said, to my letter, firstly, I would like to thank everyone for their time and dedication to the youth of our community. I am aware that what you do is not an easy task and very often goes without gratitude. So again, thank you for what you do. That being said, I would like to address the actions of February 3rd. Students were not only permitted, but in many cases encouraged to participate in protests without any consequences. Students were assisted with acquiring protest materials, allowed time in class to make posters, and in many cases, not marked as absent. I want to be very clear here. My position on this is not as a political position, but rather one of an individual that firmly believes our education system should not encourage or attempt to sway a student's political stance either. The days leading up to the protests, students had passed word about a walkout and pressured other students to participate in the walkout or not attend school if they were not going to participate. This pressure led to many students to feel and express extreme discomfort about going to school on that Tuesday. On the day of the protests, students left the campus with no reasonable effort from the administration to stop them. I was not able to locate hard, reliable data on numbers of injuries in 2025 related to protests, but in my research, what I did find was hundreds, like more than 100 articles where people had been injured or killed last year alone while protesting. In fact, here in Yuma, there was an assault made during the protest on 4th Avenue and 16th Street. A man threatened children, protesters, with a knife, had to be intervened by the Yuma Police Department. Is our school not supposed to strive to keep our students safe? How is this even remotely safe? Open campus has not been a thing since, I don't know, the 80s, 90s. It wasn't when I was in school. So that's because it was believed not to be safe for the students. So I ask again, how was this event working on keeping our students safe? I recommend we have a policy in place. And if I may, just one more second.
Of course.
Before I decided to come here, I did ask my student, kind of jokingly, I thought, oh, is there anything you wanted to address? I expected something like, oh, less work, shorter days, something fun like that. What he said to me was very concerning, very serious. He said, I would love if they addressed vaping and drugs in the bathroom. I was shocked by that. Apparently, this is a very common occurrence in some of the schools where kids sneak away into the bathrooms and vape or have weed pens, things like that. I don't know if the board's aware of that. I wasn't really aware of it until he told me.
Thank you, Mr. McLeod.
Thank you for your time.
Is there anybody else who would like to address the board? Okay, thanks for coming. Moving on to consent item 5.0. Adoption of items of routine nature and those that normally do not require deliberations on the part of the governing board. A board member may pull items which will be discussed and voted on separately. We need to pull line 31 from routine personnel. May I have a motion?
I recommend for the governing board to approve the consent items as submitted.
We are going to, can we amend that to pull line 31? Can you restate that for me?
To amend, pull item 31 out of the consent agenda.
Okay, so the motion is that we approve the consent items and pull line 31 from routine personnel. Made by Carlos. Second by Christy. Any comments? Then let's proceed to vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to, this is where I always get lost. Item 6.1, consideration to accept donations. I will read them into the record. To Cibola High School, the Education Foundation of Yuma donated $500 to the Cibola High School School to Work classes to purchase a utility cart and recycling bins. The Education Foundation of Yuma donated $1,000 to the Cibola High School Special Education Department to purchase classroom supplies, exercise equipment, and sensory items. Yuma Community Theater donated 2 light board monitors to Cibola High School to be used in the auditorium. The value of this donation is $842.76. Raiders Softball Booster Club donated softball uniforms to the Cibola High School softball program. The value of this donation is $3,849.94. Raider Spirit Line Booster donated $1,800 to the Cibola High School Spirit Line program to be used as needed by the cheer and pom team. Raiders Wrestling Booster donated $450 to the Cibola High School wrestling program to use for transportation. To Gila Ridge High School, Safeline LLC donated $500 to the Gila Ridge High School Newspaper Club to be used as needed. The Gowan Company donated $2,750 to the Gila Ridge High School FFA Club to be used in future fundraising and travel expenses. Cheering Hawks Booster Club donated $2,200 to the Gila Ridge High School Spirit Line program to use for travel expenses. Amber Kelly donated $2,500 to the Gila Ridge High School Dance Club to assist with travel expenses. Yuma Orchestra Association donated $150 to the Gila Ridge High School FBLA Club to be used for fundraising events and travel expenses. Hawks Wrestling Booster donated $1,100 to the Gila Ridge High School Wrestling Program to assist with travel expenses. Saguaro Foundation donated $250 to the Gila Ridge High School Avid Club to assist with travel expenses and for fundraising events. Melanie Bauman, I'm sorry, I butchered that, donated 150 items of stems of carnations and a 300-pack bag of Hershey Kisses to the Gila Ridge High School ECE FCCLA Club to sell during fundraising events. The estimated value of this donation is $100. Hawk Wrestling Booster donated 27 sets of jackets and pants, 3 iPads, 3 cases, and 2 tripods to the Gila Ridge High School wrestling program. The value of this donation is $3,281.95. The Hawks Track and Field Booster Club donated $12,684.79 to the Gila Ridge High School Track and Field program to assist with travel expenses, lodging, and equipment. Hawks Softball Booster donated practice shirts, 1 V-Band Air Care package, 2 platinum batting tees, training balls, and a speed agility training kit to the Gila Ridge High School softball program. The value of this donation is $1,004.05. Yuma Berries donated 5 flats of strawberries to the Gila Ridge High School Outdoor Leadership and Pharmacy Club to be used for Valentine's fundraisers. The estimated value of this donation is $250. Tacoma High School Elks number 476 donated $2,000 to the Tacoma High School MCJROTC to assist with travel supplies and uniforms. APS donated $2,500 to the Kofa High School Forensic Science classes to be used for educational materials, field trips, and as needed. Grant Weller donated $300 to the Kofa High School Student Council to use as needed. Michelle Planta donated $200 to the Kofa High School Student Council to use as needed. FCR Properties LLC donated $200 to the Kofa High School Student Council to purchase activity supplies as needed. Horn Nissan Yuma donated $300 to the Kofa High School Student Council to purchase activity supplies as needed. Grand Canyon University donated transportation for the Kofa High School AVIC classes to travel to GCU for a campus tour. The estimated cost of this donation is $1,500. Donors Choose donated classroom supplies to the Kofa High School chemistry classrooms. The value of this donation is $536.88. Royal Dancers Parent Booster donated $4,100 to Kofa High School dance program to use with travel expenses and souvenirs. Gordon Keith Lewis donated a grand piano to Kofa High School. The estimated value of this donation is $10,000. To San Luis High School, Border Gym 24/7 donated 48 black practice shirts to the San Luis High School boys soccer program. The estimated value of this donation is $480. Donors Choose donated classroom supplies to the San Luis High School academic instruction classrooms. The value of this donation is $298.73. Donors Choose donated bulletin boards and laminating sheets to San Luis High School benefiting Miss Sanchez's English classes. The value of this donation is $276.40. Victory Fundraising LLC donated $4,187.57 to the San Luis High School girls soccer program to use for equipment, tournaments, uniforms, and other program-related expenses as needed. Alejandro Zazuela donated 2 sashes and concession items to the San Luis High School class of 2029 to use for the Mr. and Mrs. Sidewinder and for fundraising events. The value of this donation is $155.54. Samantha Gutierrez donated concession items to the San Luis High School class of 2029 to use for fundraising events. The value of this donation is $54.02. Somerton High School. The City of Somerton donated $1,000 to the Somerton High School girls and boys soccer program to be split evenly and used for uniforms, equipment, and other program-related expenses as needed. City of Somerton donated $500 to the Somerton High School girls basketball program to be used for uniforms, equipment, and other program-related expenses as needed. Cordova Law PLC donated $300 to the Somerton High School Athletic Department to be used as needed by the department. Brenda Cox donated $350 to the Somerton High School Athletic Department to be used as needed by the department. Carol Stanley donated $200 to the Somerton High School football team for travel expenses, uniforms, equipment, and food for the team. To Yuma High School, Stephanie Simon Block donated an HD webcam and a Yeti podcast mic to the Yuma High School Student Council to be used as needed. The value of this donation is $310. The Gowan Company LLC donated $1,000 to the Yuma High School FFA Club to be used as needed. Daniel and Denisa Torres donated music notes to the Yuma High School band and performance band classes to be used as needed. The estimated value of this donation is $90. Grand Canyon University donated transportation to the Yuma High School AVID classes to travel to GCU for a campus tour. The estimated cost of this donation is $2,500. Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation donated $2,000 to the Yuma High School CTE Agri-Science program to use as needed. We're almost done. Yuma Union High School District. Grand Canyon University donated transportation to Gila Ridge and Kofa High School IT Essentials Level 1 classes to travel to GCU for a campus tour. The estimated cost of this donation is $2,000. Grand Canyon University donated transportation for co-fund San Luis High School sports medicine classes to travel to GCU for a campus tour. The estimated cost of this donation is $2,000. Grand Canyon University donated transportation for Yuma Union High School migrant students to travel to GCU for a campus tour. The estimated cost of this donation is $2,000. Elite Engraving and More LLC donated plaques for first place and medals for second and third place to COFA and Vista High School to be used in the joint science fair. The value of this donation is $364.26. The total donations this month is $76,916.86, and the total year-to-date donations is $552,357.95. Whew. Thank you, everybody. I am not saying that again. Can I have a motion, please?
I move that the governing board accept the above listed donations.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion made by Christie, seconded by gentlemen. David, are there any comments? Then let's please proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Action item 6.2, consideration to accept the fiscal year 25 audit. Neil.
Saving the best for almost last. I did see there's an HR item at the end, so don't get any ideas, Bobby. So as a recap, Yuma Union High School District is audited every year on our financials. That is the Heinfeld and Meach firm that we use. They come 2 times a year. The first visit's usually late spring, early summer. They do some preliminary checks on our things. And then after we've turned in the AFR in the fall, they'll come and do a final review. There are several things that they're looking at. There's some state level things, a questionnaire, and then there is the single audit. On the single audit this year, we did get a finding. I know Mr. Brienza wrote that for you in the report. Included in that finding was also our corrective action plan, which is essentially, here's what happened, here's what the district is doing to resolve it. So that was all outlined for you. Were there any questions on it?
What is the time frame?
Please.
The time frame to resolve the problem?
We've given ourselves till June 30th. We already were working towards the solutions before we even got the audit finalized. So we're on track to be improved and back where we want to be by June 30th.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I
Okay, so then there's a recommendation that we accept the fiscal year 25 audit.
I think Mr. Brown.
I want to remind, it's a roll call vote.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Neil.
Of course, thank you.
I was just about to say that.
It was Mr. Brienza who doubted, not me.
Yes, he is a doubting Mustafa.
It was me.
You are. Okay, it is recommended that the governing board accept the fiscal year 25 audit via a roll call vote. So first, may I please have a motion?
I move that the governing board accept the fiscal year 25 audit via a roll call vote.
Second by Carlos. Okay, motion made by Christie, seconded by Carlos. Any comments from anybody? Then let's proceed with the roll call. Shelley.
Aye.
Carlos.
Aye.
Jackie. Aye. Christie.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Happy? Okay. Action item 6.3, consideration to approve 50 by fail project IGA agreement. I think this is Rob.
Yep. So Arizona Board of Regents approved incentive-based program called 50% by fall. Essentially, it opened up to all high schools who wanted to participate, or really to show their FAFSA data. There is a handout at your table. There is an incentive structure. There was 2 ways that schools could have earned money. The first way is if they had 50% of their senior class complete their FAFSA by December 31st. Or the second way is if they had a 10% growth in the first 3 months of FAFSA compared to last year after 3 months. So with that being said, 2 of our schools, if you look on the backside, those are the schools that got the incentive programs. The 50% or higher, there was 46 schools, San Luis being one of those. And for the schools that had a 10% increase this year, there was 27 of them, and Cibola was one of those. So since there is incentive dollars attached to it, it did require an IGA that we are presenting today to get approved, so San Luis and Cibola can receive those incentive dollars.
So may I ask a question? We're gonna make a motion and vote on the IGA today, but then will the donation then have to be listed late, like next month?
Yes, it'll have to come. We can't accept any money until the IGA has been approved for us.
this
to
is step one.
Yeah, the step one.
Okay, thank you for answering that. Anybody else have a question? Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Arizona Board of Regents and Yuma Union High School District number 70.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Carlos, seconded by Shelley. Any comments? Let's proceed.
Can I add to it? I don't know if it's going to come back as a donation because the IGA is replacing all that information, so it's going to come back to the campus. I believe within 30 days. So it's actually not a donation.
It's not a donation.
No, it's a form of agreement.
Because
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah,
agreement.
I
Okay,
do
that makes
apologize
sense.
on that.
No, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, any more comments? Okay, motion made and seconded. Let's proceed to vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is job description. Bobby.
Good evening, Board. I'm just going to be really quick. I'm going to talk really quick a little bit about each one of these positions. As the background shows in the board agenda item, just a couple of key points that I wanted to emphasize is that the data systems manager position, as the district continues to use, as we start to transition to more systems that are data driven, this position is really key for us here at the district. The position is actually replacing a current position that we have, so it's not an additional staff, it's just changing a job over to from the enterprise systems administrator role over to the data systems manager. And then the director of counseling, as I said there, it's being brought forward tonight before you guys for consideration to help provide stability, continuity, and consistency in leadership within the counseling department at the campus level. And as I also said there is no overall cost change or staffing increase to the district.
Thanks, Bobby. Anybody have a question? Is there one director of counseling?
There will be one per campus.
Per campus?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion?
I move that the governing board approve the new job description of Enterprise Data Systems Manager effective February 12th, 2026, and Director of Counseling effective July 1st, 2026.
Thank you. Motion made by Christie, seconded by David. Any comments? Let's proceed to vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Are there any future agenda items? Did you want to bring one up?
Yes, please, to find out how can we as a board be able to have some kind of answers when community asks us about this kind of issues like the walkouts. I don't know how we gonna have to word it. I don't know.
Maybe a little board training?
Potential, yeah. We'll check it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I may be in contact with board members to flesh out a little bit more on what that request looks like, but
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Our next meeting of the board is Wednesday, March 11th at 5:15 right here. Thank you, everybody, for your patience with us today. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you. Motion made by Carlos, seconded by Christie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Everybody ignore him.